So it seems that I'm never going to get this bloody commission to proc. It just does not want to appear. I've been checking not quite every day because I never remember every day, but yeah, nearly every day, and it's just not happening. Oh, is why? It's 255 meters away. Why are you gonna hound me about the commission? So I guess I'm not gonna have to worry about that for like a good year. I think some people have said that it's taken them a year for one of these quests to proc. So you know that sucks. Ignoring my absolute issue there, the new event patch thing dropped long before this episode airs, but at the time of recording it hasn't dropped yet. But I just want to get the Archon quest out of the way. Is this considered? No, it's not an Archon quest, it's an interlude. My apologies. So I do want to get this done just in case we need to do it for any of the new, I have to say Archon quest, the new content with the new update. So, the Nightbird falls at the curtain's call. In order to look for more information about your sibling, you and Paimon decide to visit Nahida and the Sanctuary of Surastana once more. Along the way, you hear people discussing something. Sumeru? Oh, right, there. I was about to say, how do I get there? It's on top of a teleport waypoint. Isn't this by the Overlook? Near Catherine? Oh, don't know. No, it isn't. This is, I don't think. No.
Come on, serious suggestions, please. I'm not trying to write a thriller here. It's supposed to be an essay, you understand? An essay! That means facts and logic.
Your moustache looks ridiculous, sir. Just what you should know.
Well, if it's facts and logic you're after, you shot yourself in the foot with your choice of research topic, didn't you? The Tataris Suna mystery. When so much remains unexplained, there's little to be objective about. Unless, of course, you restrict yourself to textual criticism.
This is the first British voice actor we've had in this game, isn't it? Everyone's been an American accented person. But this person has a an English accent. Kind of ruins the immersion.
Yeah, well, this is my teacher's area of research. I can't change that. But it's fascinating enough without having to sensationalize it, don't you think? The strange location, the missing details, a mysterious person. I want to write my essay on something interesting, and I'm interested in getting to the bottom of all this. That's the only reason I came to you.
Yes, you came to me. So all the more reason to take my advice. The fact is, it's the dramatization that will make people want to read it. There's no getting around that.
What does it matter to you? It's not your work. It's not your paper. Your name is not attached to it. Does it matter whether people want to read it or not? You're just helping give the facts.
Okay.
Unless I'm misunderstanding, and he's not here for the facts. He's here to provide something else. I don't really understand who this person in Leo and dress is. Wait, Inazuma and dress is.
Did one of them just mention Tataris Suna? But that's all the way in Inazuma. Is it just Paimon, or is it kind of unusual for someone in Sumeru to want to write a paper about that? Everyone here is just going about their business. Maybe it really is just Paimon. Guess people here are free to research pretty much anything.
I don't think I understand. Why is it unusual for someone in Sumeru to want to write a paper about something in Inazuma? Inazuma has recently been opened up to the public. And I'm assuming the storm is gone so people can get to and from Inazuma easily. Wouldn't it be abnormal if people from the academia did not want to suddenly go to Inazuma and, write research papers now that they have access to something that's been forbidden to them for so long? You're looking at this from the completely not a wrong perspective, Paimon. Still, let's go listen in.
Great! Let's go find out what this Tataris Suna mystery is all about.
How does this all tie back to the Wanderer? Confusion. Inversion of Genesis. That makes absolutely no sense, but these titles never do. Oh, Candace, you didn't lose any health. Thank God for that.
All right, I guess I'll go with my textual criticism and your editorial direction for the first draft. I have a feeling that the missing Kabuki Mono will end up being the main focus of this paper.
I'm sorry. Did you just say Kabuki Mono? Who thought it was a good idea to take two words that exist in Japanese and smush them together like that? Kabuki and kimono. That's shockingly horrible. I hate it. Ew.
If only we knew where to find that traveler. From what they say about her, this seems like the kind of thing she'd know about.
I've been there. I've done that. Looking for me.
Oh, you're the traveler, you say?
God, why do you sound like you're looking down your nose at me?
Hey, what's with that face? Don't believe us?
If you don't believe me, I'll go, bruh.
No, of course I believe you. Actually, I first heard about your great exploits when I was still in Inazuma.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. Your English accent is still offending me. You're the only one who has it. It's just wrong.
This is my first time coming face to face with you and your mysterious silver-haired companion. I couldn't believe my luck, and out of force of habit, I started, examining the evidence. Sorry.
Huh?
Oh, Sawada, for the love of... Sorry, we don't get out much, so our social skills are kinda lacking.
You don't concern me. He does.
Traveler, I hear you've helped many people a great deal
For
and been to many
compensation?
places. Would you be able to tell us about Tatarasuna?
What's in it for me?
Actually, we don't know much about that place either. In fact, we only came over here because we heard you talking about it and wanted to learn more.
Haven't we been there? I need to bring up my map. I thought we'd been there.
I see.
Sorry, I can't help this time.
My teacher chose this area of research as a personal challenge. He said it's difficult to get into because even Inazumans don't know much about Tatarasuna's past. But who'd have thought that...
If you don't mind, I'd love to show you all my outline for the book I'm writing about Tatarasuna.
Dude, I don't care about your book. I'm here to help this dude with his research paper.
Hold on, Sawada. Don't you think that's a bit of a deep dive or a first read?
Well, fair point. In that case, please ease yourselves in gently by taking a look at Akaba's latest essay draft.
Let me give you some background. This all started with the discovery of some records in Tatarasuna. The writings mentioned someone by the name of Mikoshi Nagamasa, who crafted a fine blade. But in the end, he threw it into a fire to destroy it, and killed his servant Katsuragi. Why? Well, no one knows.
Seems very dramatic. He wouldn't have done it with no good reason, unless he went insane.
Apart from the swordmaker, his servant, and the one who wrote this all down, the records also mention a kabuki mono. This seems to be an Inazuman word for an eccentric stranger, someone who dresses funny or acts in an unusual way.
Sure.
That's right. Akaba's teacher has spent quite some time researching these events on the ground. This Kabukimono lived in Tatarasuna for a while before disappearing without a trace. And shortly afterwards, as Akaba mentioned, things got pretty ugly.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I cannot take you seriously when you keep using that word. I seriously cannot take you seriously. You're killing me.
So first this strange person goes
Good.
missing.
Let's just call him strange person.
Then a murder happens? Seems kind of fishy to Paimon.
Yes, my thoughts exactly. So I helped out too. I asked everyone I could think of if they knew anything about what happened back then. And wow, did I get lucky!
I don't know how to express my feelings on his, what's the word I'm looking for? His choice of vocabulary and grammar. And wow, did I get lucky! That doesn't really seem like something someone from Genshin would say, but, you know, this guy's breaking all the rules so far, so why not?
Stop shouting!
This part's important. I just wanted to make it stand out.
And the problem is, this voice sounds familiar to me, or at least someone I've heard before has a very similar voice, so it's extra jarring for me.
It just so happens that a friend of mine works at the Government Records Office. He looked into it for me, and I can now confirm that all the aforementioned individuals did, in fact, live in Inazuma over 400 years ago.
I mean, I didn't doubt it, but yay for research.
Even back then, Tatarasuna was already at the center of Inazuma's smelting industry. The man in charge was a government official named Niwa. Curiously enough, it seems like he went missing too.
Oh, is this why we get the Wanderer? Not because of anything that he's saying. I'm just thinking about the fact that the Wanderer, Skirmish was made in Inazuma. So it would kind of make sense that his story involves Inazuma, but I still don't know what any of this has to do with it. Unless Skirmish is old enough to have been around for 400 years. Unless he's the Kabukimono character we're talking about, who the plot thickens. Could it be?
Wait, so there are 2 missing people in this story now?
That's right! What's more, Niwa is a name with a lot of history to it. Have you ever heard of the great swordsmith clans of Inazuma?
Yes, I am acquainted with some of the descendants.
Oh, the swordsmiths? Yeah, like Ishin art and so on?
Wow, yes. You really know your stuff. That makes things easier. So basically, this Niwa was a distant relative of the Kaidahara clan, the last practitioners of Ishin art.
I swear to God, if what the fuck is his name? Oh my God. Kaidahara, Kazuha. If Kazuha is in this quest, I may just cry. We've had too much Kazuha. Put Kazuha to the side and leave him alone.
Something then seems to have happened in the Kaidahara clan, leading to their downfall. I don't know the details,
I do.
but taken in light of everything else going on around that time, it makes you wonder whether it's all connected somehow.
The Kaidahara clan?
Sawada, you left out the biggest detail of all.
There's more? God, you guys are so dramatic.
Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget? Brace your minds, ladies and
They're
gents,
braced.
for they are about to be blown.
It's braced, I only have
or
one.
maybe you won't believe your ears. I wouldn't blame you, of course, because in all my years as a writer, this is by
Oh my
far
God,
the
sir.
most...
Just spit it out. I don't like people who beat around the bush. Just get to it.
Get to the point, for Pete's sake.
Thank you.
According to information acquired by Akaba's teacher,
so dramatic.
the Kabukimono was not a human,
Ha ha ha.
but a puppet.
I called it, but 2 paragraphs earlier.
A puppet?
The Shogun puppet that the Electro Archon made should be ruling Inazuma with her as we speak. It couldn't be her. The Kabukimono has to be the balladeer, but what was he doing 400 years ago in Tatarasuna?
Aha! Judging by the looks on your faces, you do know something after all.
Yes, I know the identity of the character you're looking for. Glare at Paimon and hope she keeps her mouth shut. I like the traveler glaring. It doesn't happen often enough.
No. Paimon just meant, how creepy. The way you described it makes it sound like a ghost story.
I agree, it does. But considering that non-human races in Inazuma are by no means uncommon, spooky
True.
events are to be expected.
with Leo.
And that's exactly what my book is about. Please, take a look.
In fact, I think Dion is the only non-human in Mondstadt. Everyone else in Mondstadt's human. So it really is Leoa and Inazuma that really have the non-human races. Samari doesn't have them either. Why is that? That's weird. Anywho, I wasn't really paying attention after you said non-human races in Inazuma. Okay, cool. Dear God, this looks long. The Isle of Darkling Clouds. Author, Sawada. Extract 1. ... A man arrived in Tatarasuna around 3 in the afternoon. From afar, he spied labourers walking along the mountain roads toward the factories, their shoes scuffing along the jutting stones. They walked like people convinced that so long as they reached the fire raging in the mountain's belly, they might extract from it gems beyond price. The mood that the sight inspired was ineffable, beyond mere description for those not present to witness it. If you say so, it sounds pretty boring to me. The man barked a cheerful greeting. Are you saying that this is the balladeer? Because that ain't right, so it mustn't be the balladeer. The man barked a cheerful greeting and sprinted to join the procession. There, a towering character who stood half a head taller greeted him with a heavy slap on the back, and yet his words were filled with respect. Okay, thank God for that. It's not the balladeer, because mate, that is not something he would do. Do my eyes deceive me? Sir Miyazaki, I cannot think that the return trip here from Inazuma City could have been easy on you. Miyazaki smiled like a young man taking the first steps on their journey. Expression relaxed. Why Katsuragi? Inazuma is the realm of the almighty Shogun. I sailed upon the fastest ship, strode upon the swiftest sea routes. Ships don't stride. What dangers could I have possibly faced? And what about the good news? There was some, naturally. The two burst into uproarious laughter, roughhousing with the other workers until the path's end. My God, your style of writing your voice is really hard to read. A young man dressed in a linen shirt and wearing a headscarf gazed into the dancing flames of the furnace before him. Now, the flames of a forge are unlike any other, for their intensity affects the resulting integrity of both metal and blade. So too, then, was the Flame Watcher an unusual individual. At his fingertips sat a lizard, and on his face he wore a smile. Someone smiling while looking into the forge is unusual? Okay. The workshop was huge and the furnace was deeper within. A reasonable person might think that there should have been many working alongside the Watcher, yet he stood alone. Only when Katsuragi and Miyazaki strode into the room did the Watcher turn. His watcher was Niwa, armory officer and administrator of Tatsurasuna, born to the Niwa clan, which served as one of the 3 pillars of the Ishin art. Niwa never argued with his siblings and was a worthy successor by all accounts. The post he received was as a result of his high standing with those in power, served as a statement unto itself. I still wish they'd learned how paragraphs work. This is not a paragraph, and this is not a paragraph. It's so inconsistent. It's horrible. You'd think after 2 years they could learn how English language works. Miyazaki handed a well-bundled text to Niwa as he adjusted his expression. Is set, huh? What? I don't understand what you're trying to say here. It is as you have said, sir. The elders of your clan in the city do not think highly of our plan, yet I still believe it to be worth a try. As such, I have found the proper vendors and procured the materials that you requested. Niwa studied the text and nodded. We should try some of these new forging techniques, whether Kaitahara says yay or nay. Katsuragi frowned, and with a sigh he said, Forging is a precise and difficult undertaking. You know this better than most, sirs, and still you seek improvement each day with terrifying drive. Ah, should my lord Nagamasa hear this, the sourness in his face shall be hard to miss. In his face? On his face? Niwa smiled, replying, And how goes the forging of your lord's great blade, Katsuragi? Katsuragi neither wanted to shame his master nor lie to his 2 friends, and he could not think of any way to deflect, and so groused. And I also don't like that you continually use colons. Colons to be used in this manner are supposed to be rare because it's not technically grammatically correct. It should be a comma. I see your ears are as keen as your hands, Sir Niwa. The jokes of us unlearned men are as nothing before you. Miyazaki hid his grin. Upon hearing this, Niwa released the lizard from his hand into Katsuragi's palm. But just as more words were to be exchanged, someone came walking nearby, their footsteps light with the celerity of youth. The head that peeked in was round and, in the light, I hope it was round. As I'm concerned for the shape of his head. And the light of the fires looked like an oiled jewel. Ew, that's a terrible description. Ugh. The young man placed some boxed food at the side. Nodding, he prepared to leave. Katsuragi called out after him, What about your share? Aren't you going to eat it? The young man, upon hearing these words, found himself slightly at a loss. After a while he answered, Very well, I'll try it. You're welcome to the food. We all eat the same fare, after all, Niwa said. The man nodded and left, seemingly deep in thought. I am so confused about what that's supposed to be about. It just sounds uncomfortable. Extract 2. Don't really understand why there are dots. Does it mean that we're not reading the entire text, we're only reading portions of the text? I don't know. The Kabuki-mono was by the coast. Sunset fell to the accompaniment of darkness. The bands of twilight showed themselves naught, for in their place did thunder clouds roil, grumbling the omens of a coming rainstorm. Darkness filled the flesh of the sea, and the dusk bade the clouds to kneel upon the land, its supplication mirroring the kabuki-mono, with knees bent and face pointed toward the waters. It's just... They're using so many words, but just the way they phrase it, it doesn't feel natural and give a nice image. It's so wordy. None passed that way, and none knew what he was waiting for in silence. Time passed, unmeasured and unaccounted, till a black cloud suddenly tore free from the sky and began to circle the kabuki-mono, bearing down on him like a nightmare. Though he was not aware at first, after his studying gaze was refined by time, he understood. This cloud had marked him from the very start. Outbound, a fishing boat drew near, the lights of its bow flickering in and out of sight beneath falling sheets of rain. A mist unspooled across the area, stealing sight from the fisherman. Repeatedly, he exclaimed, It is but dusk. How are my eyes darkened? Is there anyone that can deliver my boat upon safe tides? He sounds like a rather drama queen himself. Like a falling spear, the black cloud reached the bottom of the boat and was joined in its bereftness of direction. Like a charging beast, what? I don't understand, that made no sense. Like a charging beast, they plunged into the shoreline. Scant steps away, the kabuki-mono stood idle, slanting his head to study the grand wreck. Naught but half an arm was left of the one who had cried out for help, and with a plop, it landed at the kabuki-mono's feet. He crouched to better study the object, straining against the urge to take a bite out of it. What? Since when has Scaramouche been a... Well, something like cannibal if he's a puppet. But since when did he eat human flesh? What? Yet he did not, for the dark clouds swirling down had already picked the remnants of the ship clean. The kabuki-mono stared at it blankly, like an awakening dreamer. When he returned to himself, the clouds had scattered, as if they'd never been there at all. As for the ship, could it have been struck down by a storm? Who was to know? Not the kabuki-mono. I don't understand anything that just happened in Extract 2. Extract 3. Katsuragi rushed to the doorway and shouted, "My lord, things go ill at the furnace. I have searched for Sir Niwa, but there is no trace of him. And much time has passed since Sir Miyazaki left to seek aid, but he has yet to send us any missive. Look!" Oh, was it Sir Miyazaki in the boat? Mikoshi Nagamasa turned slowly, his face grave as one attending a funeral. He spoke then, his words heavy laden. "I wish not to say such words, Katsuragi, but Sir Miyazaki may never return." Katsuragi peered past Nagamasa's broad, stiff shoulders beyond the windows. The clouds above boiled in black waves of black, as if darkness now was the only weather, and might even morph into an abyssal beast and devour Tatarasuna, whole. Yeah, I really don't like that word. Over 10 people had already perished. That was why, Katsuragi recalled as if struck. Yes, it was coming back to him now in drips and drabs. That was why they had to set out to seek aid. Wait, why did you forget this and are suddenly remembering this? This is all just really weird. Does it make more sense in its native language? This is not making much sense in English. Miyazaki had been the first to set sail. The clouds had only just begun to form then. Travelling from Tatarasuna to Inazuma to ask for support was normally no great feat, and yet there had been no sign of his return. Is this the forming of the storm that stopped people from getting in and out of Inazuma? I don't remember when they said that formed. Then a second ship was sent, followed by a third and a fourth. To the Kabukimono himself had departed upon the tides, under foul skies and ominous fortunes. It had been Katsuragi who had brought him back and treated him as his own, and it pained him greatly to see the lad go. Yet the situation in Tatarasuna was severe. Even should they sacrifice more lives, it would have been worth it to gain assistance from Inazuma City. Wait, hold up. Katsuragi is the dude from the Wanderer's Memories. The one who left him by dying, I think, or betraying him by dying. Is that what we're implying here? I don't know, I only just made the connection, so I have no idea. None of this is making any sense to me. Niwa was gone and unconfined him. Afterward, Nagamasa led a search party into the mountains and the area around the furnace, all to no avail. Folk began to wonder if Niwa might have encountered an accident, but worry soon turned to suspicion, and they wondered if he had fled, unwilling to bear the sin of having caused these incidents. How did he cause these incidents? I'm so lost. The people grew ever more suspicious, and Nagamasa himself strained against his discontent and fury. His face had grown to resemble the rumbling clouds above. Suddenly, a figure flashed by. Their presence did not go unnoticed by Nagamasa. He drew his blade and cut, though he only nicked the silken veil the intruder wore. For a moment they swayed, and then, like a marionette pulled by strings, they moved behind Nagamasa, laughing darkly. "Are you seeking someone, my lord? Niwa, perhaps?" Nagamasa bellowed in fury. "You dare address Sir Niwa directly?" Yet the figure parted like mist before his falling blade, only to rematerialize beyond reach, but not beyond sight. A ghastly apparition indeed. "Was it you who slew my people?" Nagamasa howled and charged, held back only by Katsuragi's desperate grip. As his senses returned to him, he realized he was but an inch away from falling into the furnace. It seems that the rest of this work remains unfinished. From the existing text, however, it is apparent this is a novel of fantastical, colourful sensibilities, born from imagination, well utilised.
Oh, and please read my essay
Oh my
draft
god.
as well.
Dude, I'm battling mucus right now. Do I have to? Oh, sweet baby Jesus, it's just as long. A brief analysis of possible events of historical importance in the Tatarasuna area. Details. This text belongs to a series of works sponsored by the Vahumana's Veil Cutter Project. It is yet to be numbered. Author, Akaba. Abstract. The Tatarasuna area has always been a major pillar of Inazuma's smithing industry. 2 incidents have occurred here, and the details behind the first are vague at best. I believe, however should, I know I do it all the time, but however is never supposed to appear in the middle of a sentence. However should always come at the beginning of the sentence. Just FYI, there you go, English lesson for you guys. Though I destroy that rule myself all the time. That there might be a hidden history behind the events that transpired. Hence, this paper will attempt to analyse what may have unfolded from the available data, hence is such an underused word. I like it. Glossary! Tatarasuna area, Harairin Gokaden, Mikoshi Nagamasa, Kabukimono. Introduction. This paper continues and expands the work of my mentor, Mr. Rumi, in his report on the happily hidden tales of Tatarasuna, and it's intended to further this avenue of research. According to the data, if you're one of those people, the blade forging techniques of Inazuma were originally handed down from the Electro Archon, also known as the Raiden Shogun. Using the arts they inherited. Sorry, I read that and absolutely did not read it. The blade forging techniques. Okay, cool, gotcha. Using the arts they inherited from their Archon, the people of Inazuma devoted themselves to the process of forging. However, strange rumours that do not quite fit the steely nature of metalwork yet linger about Tatarasuna, which was a central pillar of the forging industry. There, the Mikoshi and Niwa clans, along with an eccentric puppet, serve as the three windows of insight we need to investigate the truth behind what happened. Body. Strange notes from the Tatarasuna area. Their contents are as follows. 1. Perhaps I overstep, but I think that Sir Nagamasa's mood grows better when he forges blades. The obsession to cleanse the stain of the name Mikoshi must eat at him. Also, Sir Katsuragi discovered a nameless eccentric while patrolling around Nazuchi Beach. 2. The inspector bought a certain number of jade steel ingots. Sir Katsuragi discussed matters of smithing deep into the night with the vice armory officer. 3. We at last made a single nagamaki. We called it the Daitatara Nagamasa. What is a nagamaki? I don't know. The inspector was in high spirits, and he and the vice armory officer. Nozomu was so taken by the beauty of the Daitatara Nagamasa that he drew a picture of it, and he performed a sword dance with that wandering eccentric. 4. And we could not find that eccentric. The inspector flew into a rage and slashed Katsuragi. The great blade cut deep into the flesh, cast his own nagamaki into the furnace's flame. Nozomu could not abide by that order, and drew the completely melted weapon out of the furnace. He was horribly burned. Of course he was. Oh no. What order was given that he had to retrieve, or went against the order to retrieve the weapon? Jesus Christ. 5. Nozomu died that night, probably from infection from his hands. I dare say that while Sir Katsuragi may have committed malfeasance, it was out of the goodness of his heart. Okay. 6. Kinjiro hid the nagamaki in Nozomu's drawing in the arsenal. Arsenal? Have we had mention of that before? Nagamasa is harsh, but also knows right from wrong. But even so, he is not amenable to reason. His name indicates one obsessed with purity. Still, I and some households of Tatarasuna have not been blighted by the matter of Nagamasa's mother, Chiyo, and we trust... What? What is his mother coming into this for? I also remain unwilling to forget the joy of creating the Daitatara Nagamasa with him, and that joy of watching that nameless eccentric perform that sword dance with Katsuragi. 7. Before we withdrew, we should have divided the arsenal key into 3 parts. 1 for the inspector, 1 for the armory officer, and 1 to be left in Tatarasuna itself to prevent theft. But we were in too much of a hurry, and neither the inspector nor the armory officer could be found, so I was so bold as to hide the 3 pieces within treasure chests in Tatarasuna. Dear God, please tell me I don't have to recover those treasure chests. Oh God, this is a massive chunk. The 7 notes mentioned prior have been scattered across the Tatarasuna area. Among the 7 notes, 6 seem to be of good physical integrity, though they all look quite old, while the last one looks more recent. I believe that the first 6 notes and the last are of different time periods, though the gulf in years between them needs to be verified. The contents of the first 6 should also be related to one another, as the incidents mentioned are quite consistent with one another. Rumi once mentioned in Happily Hidden Tales of Tatarasuna, hereafter known as Hidden Tales, thank God. Wait, Hidden Tales? Is that a book series we can collect? That in the past, researchers from Sumeru had investigated the cultural histories of Tatarasuna in Inazuma. Though the place has fallen into some degree of disrepair since the Hidden Tales were written, things have improved since the time when I wrote my original article. Regardless, what used to be an area of major industry remains a place most inhospitable, and residents of Tatarasuna may be found living and dwelling by the waters. The residents, when questioned, told the researchers of Tatarasuna's golden age centuries ago, when it was administered by Armory Officer Niwa, Vice Armory Officer Miyazaki, and Inspector Mikoshi Nagamasa. Yet, the elders among the locals with deeper ties to the region also seemed to distress the fact that there were strange rumours surrounding their homeland's past. A great many of these rumours revolved around the yokai, who were so very characteristic of Inazuma's Discord folk histories. A small portion, however, repeatedly mentions the word puppet. It should be known that puppets are neither traditional nor common yokai in Inazuma. Wait, what? You're saying a puppet is a yokai? No. 2 very, very different things. What is this button? I don't know if that is a button. No, I don't think it's a button. There's true fact to the This fact drew the attention of the researchers to delve further, and eventually the following pieces of information came to light. A puppet did once appear in Tadarasuna. Its visage was elegant, its apparel impeccable, and the way it dressed hid all the joint lines of its body. If no one were to mention that it was indeed a puppet, it would be hard to tell at all. Additionally, this puppet seemed to possess special joint lines that would fade with time, potentially even disappearing altogether, which would perhaps eventually make the puppet seem entirely human. That is bizarre, and how would you even know? Since it requires time. The name of the puppet was known to almost none. Some folk claimed to have spotted it appearing around Tadarasuna, while others mentioned encountering it in the central regions of the area. Some even claimed that it would frequent the beach. Tales spread of it standing beside the sea and gazing across the waters toward Inazuma City. What it was that the puppet was gazing at remains a mystery. Well, Inazuma City, obviously. As mentioned earlier, the 6 notes all document a certain nameless eccentric. The eccentric, which can also be read as kabukimono, is usually used in Inazuma to refer to a figure who dresses or behaves in a peculiar manner. It is understandable, therefore, why this character would have left such an impression. Should the people of Tadarasuna indeed have had a puppet in their midst incurring mass panic, a good possibility considering the coexistence between yokai and humans in Inazuma at large, then the puppet would have likely become a local resident. What is less well known is if the kabukimono was just another title for this puppet. Perhaps because it was uniquely dressed to distract attention from its more special characteristics. A workable theory, but one that still lacks enough evidence to support it. Still, it can be retained as an analytical lens of sorts. A list of individuals related to Tadarasuna has been compiled here based on historical documents from Inazuma. Starting from the administrators, the records are as follows. Armory Officer, Niwa. Full name, Niwa Hisahide. He was the inheritor of the Ishin art and successor to the Niwa clan. His family, along with the Akame and Karahara clans, were together known as the Ishin Sensaku. Records show that Niwa was a modest and intelligent individual who displayed remarkable talent in the administration of territory and people. His eventual whereabouts are unknown, but he was suspected to have left Tadarasuna with his family following the incident. Vice Army Officer Mizaki. His full name, Mizaki Kaneo. Kaneo. He was Niwa's second in command. His origins are unknown, and he primarily assisted Niwa in forging and personnel management. He was of affable temperament and had many friends in the region, including one Mikoshi Nagamasa. Inspector Mikoshi Nagamasa. The successor of the Mikoshi clan, adopted son to Oni warrior Mikoshi. Oh, Chiyo was a male. I thought Chiyo was a female's name, my bad. And the younger adopted brother to Mikoshi Michihiro, also known as Iwakura, as the successor. With his mother missing and abandoned by his brother, Nagamasa alone bore the family name. Why, what happened to Michihiro? Striving daily to wipe the shame from their history. What shame? You keep throwing words at me, but you don't explain what they mean. Their records state that Mikoshi Nagamasa was a stubborn figure. He was also noted to be a person of moral virtue and integrity. It has been noted in various records that he practiced forging weapons for self-cultivation and specially requested special instruction from Miyazaki to further his capabilities. However, after the famous blade Daitatara Nagamasa was forged, he used it to slay a subordinate, Katsuragi, for reasons unknown at present. I'm just trying to think of the events we saw up above when Nagamasa saw the Wanderer as a spectral figure, so he said, and moved out of range, and next thing you knew he was before the furnace. In that incident, did he accidentally slay Katsuragi completely unintentionally? I don't know. Subordinate Katsuragi. Katsuragi's full name and background remain unknown. Despite all the materials I have sorted through, I have yet to find any more additional personal information regarding him. As one of Mikoshi Nagamasa's subordinates, he was a loyal warrior who had been saved by Nagamasa in his youth. From then on, he swore to stick by his lord through thick and thin and to give his life in service if it was but asked of him. Kabukimono. Full name unknown, background unknown. From the many sources I have compiled combined with Rumi's personal observations, this character might have been the puppet mentioned in the rumours. The Kabukimono was a figure of fashionable grace and gentleness. According to the hidden tales, he was brought back to Tatsurasuna by Katsuragi and became a member of the community. And the Kabukimono, actually that would make sense, my theory, because Katsuragi in my mind is the dude who helped the Wanderer and then betrayed him by dying. So I don't think that the Wanderer would be instrumental in Katsuragi dying. So no, I take back my former thought. When the Kabukimona first arrived in Tatsurasuna, he knew nothing of cleaning, cooking, or any work of meticulous nature, which is funny because the Raiden Shogun is the only character who can't cook in the game. So that makes sense that she couldn't teach him what she didn't know. The locals taught him their skills over time, showing how to clean his attire, dance, and craft small trinkets. Records state that the Kabukimona was there when the Daitatara Nagamasa was forged, though his trail ends before Mikoshi Nagamasa slew Katsuragi. I believe that the Kabukimona was indeed the aforementioned puppet, and that he quite likely had a hand in Katsuragi's death. It seems that the rest of his paper remains unfinished, although that seems to disagree with my disagreement. One thing is for sure, though, a lot of thought was put into it. Yeah, I like this version better than the novel.
Sawada was encouraging me to follow his more creative approach, but I think essays should be grounded in facts. I don't think explaining everything away with mysterious forces will cut it.
No, because that doesn't use fact.
Oh,
It's fiction.
How about if I plug the holes in Sawada's narrative with political intrigue? Like, I could put a turf war between rival factions at the center of the whole series of events.
But why? Was there a turf war between rival factions at the time? If not, you're starting to put fiction in your fact.
Wait, you're allowed to just make stuff up? Pretty sure you've gone from essay to guessay there.
Yeah, that seems more like a novel. Has this guy ever written an essay before?
Akaba, look. Your teacher has researched this extensively. I've reached out to everyone I could think of. Whatever information we have now is all that there is to know. This is as much detail as you're ever going to get. Besides, if there really was a political power struggle going on at anything like the level you seem to be suggesting, what hope would we ever have of finding out the truth?
We could just go ask... Eh? We could go ask the Shogun. Or we could ask Miko, because she would have been alive at the time as well. We have plenty of avenues of getting, a veracity of history. Let's just go back to Inazuma and ask the people who were there.
Good point. Okay, back to the drawing board, I guess. Give me some time. I need to find a new angle on this.
I'll leave it to it.
We have some other stuff to do, so
Do
we'll
we?
have to say goodbye for now. Good luck with your essay.
I'm sorry, Paimon. I am not doing Adonara right now, so we don't really have other stuff to do.
All right, thank you. If you find out any more info about all this, please do let me know. Thanks so much.
I mean, I would be curious enough to go ask Miko or A. We really should go do that.
Hey, so that thing they were talking about, it has to do with the balladeer, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, then even if we did know something about it, we probably couldn't share it with them, huh?
Absolutely not.
After all, we kicked his butt and got him locked up. Information about people like that is usually super confidential, isn't it?
Usually.
If you ask Paimon, Akaba should just pick a different topic.
But his topic is so
There must be
interesting.
as many essay topics as there are trees in the forest. There's no point in...
Oh my god, what are the chances? Why is he just walking out in the city like he... Shouldn't he be in a prison cell? What's wrong?
Hey, did you see that? He literally just went by, over there. It looked like...
He's just casually walking through the city?
Here. No, it can't have been. He got locked up. Oh, quick, let's catch up and see.
That's just creepy. But. Books. Books. Is Hidden Tales something we read? Or am I just mistaking this from like some other game? Nah, I must be mistaking it for something else. Why is that locked? Book kit not found. Of 1,000 Nights? You're joking, right? I've been collecting like a bajillion of them as we go along. This game's on crack. I swore it was something that we were reading. Or gathering. It must really be another game. This is actually really painful. Going through like this. Okay. If you say so. Yeah, well, there's nothing else I can really... Wow. Have we really played this much story? 1, 2, 3. 3. Traveller. So the Dainsleif chapter, perhaps. 4. Interlude. More Traveller. Another interlude. 5. Oh, interesting. And it gives you like dialogue that you can listen to.
It's about time.
Huh. This is weird. Wow. This is so strange. Huh. And you can revisit story quests? Oh my god, have we really done that many story quests? Holy shit. Holy shit, have we really done... Have we really done that many story quests? I don't think these first ones count, do they? Wow. Huh. I had no idea that was there. Anyway, distracted. I thought Hidden Tales was something we collected. You know what? I'm gonna get some water before I do that.